Jane is, she's a writer and performer. She's performed in Berlin, Cambridge, at the Edinburgh International Book Festival and at Shakespeare and Company in Paris, which is really cool. And she was recently awarded, well, last year she was awarded the Scottish Book Trust New Writers Award.
Hi there. I'm going to read an old short story that I have. It's something that I wrote after I first heard about the particle accelerator that was built in Switzerland underneath Zurich. And I'm sure you know they're trying to recreate the Big Bang underneath Switzerland, which I thought was interesting. This is called The Idea Groves. They rush into the chippy in the woozy rum hours after 3 a.m., the hours of formica and kebabs. They gather armfuls of greaseproof paper, pungent and vinegary, with small, scrabbled hands. We anteater hipsters, foraging. They resemble bug-eyed thyroid kids, expressions as huge as fists. Undoubtedly, their nails are dirty and feet unclean. They reek of pollen, the wallowing cherry blossoms of Hillhead Park in the West End. No one asks their names and no one gives them bother. Folk know better. That's the way it is with the chip shop darlings. Once, the kid on dish duty tried to break their fragile poise. He gathered his suds and gestured to one of the girls with a guttural voice and a, "All right, darling," air. She gaped at him, eyes widening, tears large and hot like infected wounds. The papers rustled. Converse scudded across the lino, doors slammed. The shop fell silent and strangled as a dial tone and stayed that way for a week. There were recriminations, wallops from the manager. No one bothered them again. They work at the Idea Grove. It's fallen into disrepair these days, but the chip shop darlings still nurse the dying plants, try to tend them back to health. That's why they need the paper, because nothing nurtures the fragile roots of idea cuttings like the warm vinegar teats of fish and chip papers. It's best harvested at those small hours too, while it's still warm with drunken rambling and that thrill-gasp evening adventure smell of still before bedtime. That's what works best for the ideas, keeps them cozy and fresh through all kinds of weather, keeps them alive. No one else much bothers with the groves these days. They've got synthetics, acrylic ideas that rinse at 60 degrees, alloy ideas that withstand road tests up to 120 miles per hour. In Switzerland, they're testing a new metaphysic crafted from atomized nylon that holds firm against 97 degrees of skepticism. They built a long tunnel and fired Eliadic electrons at it, almost at the speed of light. The idea held up well. And they don't need the groves. No one needs the groves, apart from the chip shop darlings. The groves are pretty old, and this is one reason to have faith in them. Although the ideas there have grown gnarly and wizened with disrepair, they're not dead yet. This may be because they are quiet ideas too. The synthetic manufacturers don't feel they need to bother with sabotage. But the grove ideas are there, worming their way into the earth, persisting. Sometimes the kids take dares at the groves. Sometimes the drunks in the district wander home via them and piss through the hedgerows. Young, blossoming inspirations buckle under a streak of urine. The chip shop darlings don't have time to stand guard all the time, though they always worry about the ideas, camp out in the fertile months. But it's terrible. The kids yank a handful of ideas out of the earth for an afternoon dare, run them to the schoolyard and present them for inspection. No one ever thinks much of these ideas. They're picked too soon. They wilt like dandelions in a glass tumbler. None of them makes the afternoon. They're flung to the fields with derision, and the entertainment turns to thumb wars and peanuts. The kids still bother because they once caught a beauty. Billy Slater did. He ran, fearless as a gunner, right to the centre of the groves. And of course, that was where the witch lived, that bug-eyed witch who would peel off your skin if you ever came near, wrap around her roots and cackle. She was evil, reeked of pickled eggs, hair as black as rotten teeth. And no one went to the centre of the groves, except for wee Billy Slater. He ran in, grabbed a good un and pelted for the yard. He heard the yells of the chip shop darlings and he bombed it right out of there. Didn't stop till he was right inside the gates, heaving and panting like an only just victorious gazelle. It was a beauty. The chip shop darlings had been nursing this one, tending it with all the vinegar papers they could find. It reeked of promise, a real diamond, right up there with Socrates' ilk, right up with the Swiss. In the middle of their circle, it glowed. Everyone felt wiser just looking at it, felt good, all understanding and nods. There was sense, and the girls grinned, bit lips, embarrassed by a sudden knowing. The boys jostled, abashed but happy, with a hot rush of superiority. And of course, they all wanted it. The older boys demanded it should be theirs, Billy contested, all hands flung in, pulled pieces to their chests. That sublime idea ended up in pieces, and everyone clutched the empty words they had won, but of course the pieces were nothing. They tried to tape them back together, Pritt stick, stitching, oohoo, putty, nails, hammers. Later they tried water and earth, planting the broken roots in a window box outside the maths class, where they could watch it with impunity, notice if it flourished. Of course, it died. The chip shop darlings were sad about that one, but they carried on, delicate-fingered and ever eager. They spent hours in city bookshops, rushed back resplendent with copies of Kant and Schopenhauer from the wee corner shops on Audigo Lane. These were tucked deep in the earth and vinegar-nourished, and they waited, watched, and spoke of propositions. Something was bound to happen soon. As ever, something did. The girls did not belong to the chip shop darlings. If anyone's, they were the council's, and the council did not believe in the idea groves. The council believed in flats and supermarkets and parking meters. The council sold the groves to Sainsbury's, who do 3 for 2 sausages and 3 for 2 on sausages and 12-pack beers during major sporting events. I guess that's an idea too. Sometimes I still see the chip shop darlings, silent and wide-eyed in the West End cafes.